Why weight loss is so difficult with PCOS. The real science. You wake up determined. Today, you'll eat carefully, move your body, do everything you're told is right. And you do. You count calories, you cut sugar, you push yourself through workouts even when your energy feels thin and brittle. Days turn into weeks. The scale barely moves. Sometimes it goes up. And slowly, quietly, a thought settles in that's harder to shake than hunger or fatigue. What is wrong with me? For millions of women with PCOS, weight loss doesn't feel difficult. It feels unfair because the effort is real, but the results don't match. And the reason has very little to do with willpower, discipline, or motivation. It has everything to do with biology. Polycystic ovary syndrome is not just a reproductive condition. At its core, PCOS is a complex metabolic and hormonal disorder that changes how the body handles energy, fat storage, and appetite. One of the central features is insulin resistance. Insulin is the hormone that helps move glucose from your bloodstream into your cells so it can be used for energy. In PCOS, many cells become less responsive to insulin's signal. To compensate, the pancreas releases more insulin. Chronically elevated insulin doesn't just regulate blood sugar, it acts as a powerful fat storage hormone. It tells the body to store energy, particularly in the abdominal region, and it makes it harder to access stored fat for fuel. This hormonal environment also directly affects the ovaries. High insulin levels stimulate ovarian cells to produce more androgens, such as testosterone. These androgens further worsen insulin resistance, creating a self-reinforcing loop. The body is constantly being told two things at once: store energy and conserve it. In this state, metabolism becomes metabolically inefficient. The body is not broken, but it is operating under a different set of internal rules. At the same time, elevated androgens influence where fat is stored. Many women with PCOS notice increased weight around the abdomen rather than hips or thighs. This visceral fat is metabolically active. It releases inflammatory signals that further impair insulin sensitivity and disrupt normal hormone signaling. Inflammation becomes part of the picture. Not the kind you feel immediately, but the low-grade chronic inflammation that quietly shifts metabolism toward defense rather than change. The body prioritizes survival over fat loss, even in a calorie deficit. Stress adds another layer. Living with PCOS often means years of unexplained symptoms, dismissed concerns, and constant self-monitoring. Physiologically, chronic stress raises cortisol levels. Cortisol increases blood sugar availability, and when persistently elevated, encourages fat storage, again, especially around the abdomen. Cortisol also interferes with thyroid hormone activity at the cellular level. Even when lab tests fall within normal ranges, the metabolic rate can slow. Energy expenditure decreases. Fat oxidation decreases. The body becomes more efficient at holding on to energy and less efficient at releasing it. Traditional weight loss advice often intensifies these problems. Severe calorie restriction can further elevate cortisol and worsen insulin resistance. Excessive high-intensity exercise, especially without adequate recovery, may push an already stressed system deeper into conservation mode. Hunger hormones like ghrelin increase, while satiety hormones like leptin become less effective. Leptin resistance is common in PCOS, meaning the brain doesn't accurately register fullness or energy sufficiency. You can eat enough, or even more than enough, and still feel unsatisfied. Sleep disruption compounds everything. PCOS is associated with higher rates of sleep apnea and poor sleep quality, even in women who are not overweight. Inadequate sleep worsens insulin resistance, increases appetite, and alters glucose metabolism the next day. Muscle tissue, which normally helps dispose of glucose efficiently, becomes less responsive to insulin. Recovery slows. Fat oxidation decreases. The body becomes more efficient at holding on to energy and less efficient at release. None of this means weight change is impossible, but it does mean the process operates differently. Weight loss with PCOS is not about forcing the body into submission. It's about reducing the hormonal and metabolic signals that tell the body to resist. Interventions that stabilize blood sugar, adequate protein, fiber, and balanced meals can reduce insulin demand. Resistance training helps improve insulin sensitivity in muscle tissue without excessively raising cortisol. Stress reduction is not optional. It directly affects metabolic hormones. Medical therapies, when appropriate, can address insulin resistance or androgen excess at their source. Perhaps the most important shift is psychological. When weight loss is framed as a moral failure, stress hormones rise and adherence erodes. When it's understood as a biological challenge, the focus moves from punishment to strategy. Progress may appear slower on the scale, but improvements often show up first in energy, cycle regularity, cravings, and metabolic markers. These changes signal that the internal environment is shifting even before visible weight loss occurs. The truth is uncomfortable, but freeing. With PCOS, your body is not ignoring your effort. It is responding to signals shaped by hormones, metabolism, and survival biology. When those signals change, the response changes too. And understanding that is not an excuse. It is the foundation for working with your body instead of against it. Sing it.